What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing this evening? I am Lamar, and that's my brother Casey Fowler, and this is the Fowl Language Podcast.
Yes, sir. The Fowl Language Podcast, where we like to talk any and everything anime, man. And we got another good one for you guys, man. I'm gonna pass it over to my brother for this one, man. What you got for us tonight, bro?
All right, so first up is I was listening to a podcast, I don't know, about a month or two ago, and they were talking about um, is anime political? And they were saying no, and they were saying that anime and people watch anime for an escape, and so you shouldn't be bringing politics into anime. And so that was kind of the point of the podcast. So I thought that'd be fun that if we talk about it as well. I can't remember the podcast exactly because I would have tagged them on it. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on anime? And is anime political or should it be political? So what do you think?
Now, sometimes it can get real heavy, man. It can get real heavy with the political intrigues and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes a story, man. It really does. Like you take One Piece. I'm at like episode 395, by the way, so I haven't seen it all, guys. I'm working on it. But there's
Thank
there's a lot
goodness.
of that in there with the world government. They completely crooked. They got deals with the seven sea lords or whatever, and they can put a bounty on you just because they ain't get their way. That's how Luffy got his original bounty in the first place, because corrupt official in the world government. So it kind of builds that story to me, man. It does. There's another example I was thinking about too that kind of builds that. My Hero Academia is another good one because there's a lot of bias on people with quirks and stuff that have physical quirks. They look like a dinosaur or a rabbit or something like that. They were like living in the slums and things like that. But that also made the story. It shows the resilience and all that other stuff of it, because especially now, yeah, you do want that escape, but once that anime is over for your escape, you back into the real world versus watching something that actually has some meat behind it, for lack of a better term, and really makes you think, and you see the resistance of the characters. And another real good one, now that I'm thinking about it, would be Akame got killed, 'cause that was just political corruption after corruption after corruption, and depending on what stance you took watching that anime, they were either the good guys or the bad guys, even though it was real tragic. If you guys ain't seen it yet, just lock in, man.
Don't
Cause
get attached. Don't
no,
get
cause
attached.
cause it was many a night, man. I went to bed like, oh man, like this is looking at the ceiling type
Dude,
stuff, man. 'Cause
I read the
that
manga,
was rough. Yeah, I ain't even been brave enough to read it. But,
and it's different
no,
from the anime.
I bet. And I heard different people die in the manga compared to the anime too. That's why I wanted to read it, but I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to be triggered again.
You will
Some of
be,
that
because
hurt.
some of it's exactly the same.
Some of that was
Mm-hmm.
rough, man.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't no soft dude, man. I'm a pretty tough guy, man. But
Yes,
that
sir.
was rough. But yeah, politics do have a place, but also the animes. That's just sometimes I just want to watch some mindless stuff. That's true, something very mindless and non-political, but political makes a story. You take any anime you could think of, and there's some element of politics in it. Naruto, they had their own politics. That's with the whole, Itachi killing the Uchiha clan. That's some political stuff right there, in my opinion. You had it in Bleach. You had it in. The only one I could think that you really didn't have it in is no. Yu Yu Hakusho had it too, with the whole when after the Sensui fight. So
Mm-hmm.
there's elements of it in every anime. It really is just how you perceive it and how you want to take it in. Because for me, even though it's political stuff, it's still a good show. It's a good way to decompress for me, because it takes your mind off of what you got to do. I got to go to training, or I got to go to work tomorrow, or I got to feed the kids, or I got all the stuff you have to do that you do daily. You just still get away from it, and you'll be glued into that. It's just like watching any other show. You take any show, there's always going to be a hint of politics in it, whether you're using it as an escape or not. Video games is the same way, really. Um, but other than that, what you think?
So, and I wanted to comment directly on the podcast, but I forgot. Maybe if I can find it in my history and dig way back and comment. So, and no shot on their opinions or anything like that, but in that particular case, I disagree with them. anime can be an escape. It can be fun. It can be a power fantasy and things like that if you watch certain anime. But politics is basically in almost all anime.
Yeah.
I mean, and whether you pay attention to notice that it's there or you go tunnel vision and ignore it, it's still there. One thing I do want to point out that you mentioned that I do want to make sure is clear, because a lot of times people, what's the word I want? Conflate or confuse, or kind of relate. I'm trying to think of the right word I want, but they kind of associate. We'll go with that. They associate racism. We're gonna try this again. Slight technical difficulties over here, but they tend to associate discrimination and racism with politics. They are related, yes, but it doesn't mean the same thing. Now, if you want to argue racism and stuff like that shouldn't be in anime, that's a whole different discussion altogether. And again, if you want to make that argument, racism is most definitely covered in anime a lot of times, in One Piece, in Naruto, in Bleach. I think in Bleach, maybe Bleach. I don't know about Bleach. I started rolling. If not, whatever.
Quincy's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Gachiakura, My Hero. No, not My Hero. Yeah, My Hero. Because you mentioned it when you're talking about the way they treat the other characters.
The Animorphs or whatever they're called.
So I mean, in 86, Code Geass, the Ishvalans in Full Metal Alchemist. So it is there. And all of those anime too have political elements as well. So it's there. I mean, it's a mirror of society. So to say that anime shouldn't be political, you just can't have it. I mean, it's fiction kind of tells a story at a time. So to make that argument, I think you've missed the point in some respects. Now, what you can do is find those anime that don't have it, because there are those that don't have those kind of themes in there as well. I mean, because I'm trying to think of Dragon Ball. I don't really think Dragon Ball has it. I mean, unless you want to argue that, like, when you get into, like, the realm of the Kais and stuff, but I would argue that it doesn't.
I would say Dragon Ball, not so much Dragon
I would say that that doesn't. I'm trying to think of another one that doesn't.
It's tough, right?
I don't really have any that don't to some degree. I mean, you've got crooked governments. You've got, organizations behind the main organizations pulling the strings. I mean, you got all those things in politics. You've got examples of communism, dictatorships, democracies, socialism, anarchy. You pick your ism. It's there in an anime. You'll find it. And those are all those things that people discuss. If you pick a particular political argument in any fashion, there's probably an anime that touches on that concept in some kind of way. I mean, you've got violence and war, you've got oppression, you've got treating the disenfranchised, you've got dealing with money. I mean, dealing with the economy. I mean, there's whole anime where the things that you do impact the economy at large. So I mean, it's all there, man. It really is. So I don't know. That's all I got, man. But I was doing something else while listening to it, and I was like, yeah, I disagree completely. So I figured we could talk about it. So
yeah, I wish you would have.
I wish I would have too. I wish I would have
some interesting stuff right there, man. But maybe you'll find it. Only thing I got is other than Dragon Balls, y'all, what are some other anime that's not really political? I would say Re Monster, but I really feel like there's a hint of politics in there to some effect or another. But
no, I'm trying to think of that. No, because once he goes to the royal palace and everything, the ogres and stuff the race that he's in, they're not treated as the same status as everyone else, and it's not. I mean, you have that whole society of where the princess or whatever. Remember when they go to basically town?
Yeah,
there's politics associated with all the town.
Yeah.
I mean, now if you go to the days where they just in the forest and everything, and he's meeting the dryads and everything else and making baby mamas left and right, then nah. but it's there. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
it's there.
not trying to force it either. And I mean, another thing I talk about is it's so prevalent in anime. If you look at some of the political protests in, what is it, Malaysia or somewhere, they raise the Straw Hat Pirates flag to symbolize their struggle, their plight, their fight. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't do that if thoughts and political discussions and political discourse weren't in anime. I mean, they ain't got the Smurfs flag.
No. Gummy bears either.
They ain't got no Ninja Turtles on their thing, you know what I mean? So, and yeah.
Yeah, it's there in one form or another. You can't.
It just is. I mean, and it's. I think the difference is, and we talked about it before. I think how it's handled is handled to a point where it's not the focus of the story. It's a driver of the plot in a lot of cases. Like, I mean, even using Gachiakura, it's the driving force to get him in the situation where he's in. But we focus on so much more other than that. You know what I'm saying? Versus making it the entire focus. And I think that might be why you think that it's not involved or whatever into the story. But I mean, look at Gachiakura. If it didn't have those systems in place, he didn't get railroaded to get thrown in the pit, we wouldn't have an anime. Yeah, basically. Yu Yu Hakusho, not Yu Yu Hakusho, I was gonna say Jujutsu Kaisen, same way. I mean, that whole society
all in that.
all day, every day. So I mean, you pick your anime. What else? Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise. I mean, like you said, it's easier to, it's harder to recommend those that don't have it than those that do.
Yep. And if you guys know that podcast that mention their comments, like I said, we have no issue with their opinion on it or anything, but tag them in it. I want them to actually put some in the comments and tell us which ones that they watch that aren't political.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I mean, they seem pretty cool, like cool brothers too, and that would be fun to chop it up. So definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.